You have no idea what is truly possible. I'm telling you now that you have no idea what is possible for you. And in this video, I'm going to speak to you about that because the mistake that a lot of us make is that we allow our current reality to inform what we believe is possible.
When you change your thoughts, you change your life. This is Thoughts That Count with Poloko.
So the reason why you have no idea what is truly possible is because you have allowed, listen to me now, your current reality to tell you what is truly possible. You look at your life as it is right now and you think that that tells you what's possible tomorrow. But I want to tell you something right now. Your future has nothing to do with where you are right now. It has nothing to do with where you come from. And we know this because we have heard stories, endless stories. Just go online, just go around the streets and ask people to hear where they come from. Ask for some stories. There are people who started off as drug dealers and ended up as pastors. Where you are right now and where you come from has nothing to do with where you go. This is why I say to you that you have no idea what is truly possible. My friend, what I want to do in this video is I want to speak to you to perhaps do my best to inspire you to believe that there is more, to believe in the possibilities that far supersede where you are right now, to believe in possibilities that far supersede your current reality. So let me ask you first and foremost, what is your current reality? What is it? See, there's no problem with you acknowledging it. You might acknowledge that your current reality is that right now, life is not as good as it can be. Right now, life is not even as good as it was yesterday or last year. What is your current reality? What's your current reality for your relationships, for your marriage, your current reality in your career, your current reality financially, your current reality with your family? And whatever your current reality is, as good as it is or as bad as it is, it has nothing to do with what is truly possible. The truth is, only God knows what is truly possible. Only God can really show you and I what is truly possible. The reason I tell you that your current reality has no hope on what's possible is because I often think about the fact that when I was younger, I wanted to be a taxi driver. That was my dream when I was a kid. My childhood dream was to be a taxi driver. Living in a village and the only way to get to town being through a taxi or a bus. I didn't want to drive a bus. That was too big and scary. But I did believe that one day I could drive a taxi so that I can go to town every single day. Because it took about an hour to get to town. And in the village that I lived in, no one really had their own car. And so I believed that one day I could be a taxi driver. Now, for some reason, that dream didn't work out. I'm not saying I'm angry about it. I'm not saying I'm mad about it, but that dream didn't work out. I'm okay with that. Sometimes things just don't work out. You know what I'm saying? But as I grew older, the reason why that dream didn't work out and the reason why I am not a taxi driver today is because I began to see more possibilities. I began to see possibilities beyond my reality because when I was a kid, I didn't have the sense to know what is possible beyond my reality. And so my reality was to get to town, you need to get into a taxi. The taxi driver gets to go to town every single day. I want to go to town every single day. And so the only thing that makes sense is that I will be a taxi driver. And so here's what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is, at some point, you will need to transcend your current reality. About how smart you think you are, how qualified you think you are, where you come from, where you are right now, what you have, what you don't have. At some point, you will have to transcend your current reality so that you will look to the greater beyond and realize what is truly possible. There's an incredible story in the Bible that depicts this so well of a man called Abram, who later would be called Abraham. And Abram is an old man who never had a child, and he seems to have everything else except a child. And now he's in a season in his life, or a stage in his life, where he is pretty much just going around and doing what God called him to do. He is just following a calling from God. God one day said to him, go to a place I will show you. And Abram said, okay then. Picked up everything that he had, his wife, his nephew, all of his possessions, and he left. And one day, Abram has a conversation with God. He has a bit of a rebuttal with God where he says, God, I'm not happy with the fact that I don't have a child. You keep on telling me about all these great promises. You keep on telling me about all these things that you will do for me, but I don't have a child. And so none of this means anything to me because my heir will be someone who's not even my own child, but a servant in my house. I don't want my inheritance to go to a servant. I want my own heir. So none of the promises mean anything to me. And Abram has this conversation with God while he's sitting in his tent. And it's such a beautiful picture because God then it says in Genesis that God took him outside. God took him outside of his tent. In Genesis 15, you will find it. Took him outside his tent and said to him, look up at the stars. And God said, if you can count the stars, that is how many children, that is how many descendants rather, you will have. Descendants from your own body, your own bloodline will be as many as the stars. And it's incredible because in this moment, Abram has to make a decision. He has to choose what it is that he will believe. He can either believe his current reality or he can believe this idea that he can have as many descendants as there are stars in the night sky. And you can only imagine for someone who is not living in the city that is flooded with lights, where it is completely dark. You look up at the sky and you see stars that flood the entire night sky. It's impossible to count. And so to think that I could have that many descendants when I don't even have one child is bizarre. But the Bible says that Abram believed God and God credited it to him as righteousness. And so in other words, God looked at him and said he is a righteous man simply because Abram caught a bigger vision. He caught a bigger possibility. At some point in your life, you have to catch a bigger vision, catch a bigger possibility, one that far supersedes where you are right now and one that you don't even have answers for. And the frustration for a lot of us is that we want to know exactly how it will unfold. We want to know exactly how it will happen. But the truth is you will not know. And it's okay for you to not know. It's okay for you to not understand how it's going to happen. Abram was an old man. His wife was an old woman. And here he is, never ever having had children before, knowing that his wife was a barren woman. And now he believes the idea that he will have descendants through his wife. It seems absurd. But he believed God, and God called it righteousness. And so I'm saying to you right now, you need to trust God to elevate you to a place where you will begin to see more than what you see right now, to see beyond your current reality. Don't allow your current reality to dictate to you what is truly possible. And I'm telling you right now, as you begin to catch a bigger vision and catch a bigger glimpse of what is truly possible, you will have people who are so caught up in reality, so caught up in their present reality and your present reality, who try to pull you back to it and tell you about what's realistic and what's possible, what can be done and what cannot be done. You cannot afford to allow that. Allow yourself to dream bigger than where you are right now, to see more, to just go beyond your current reality. As we take the example of Abraham, we can see beyond where we are. We can see beyond our circumstances. We can see beyond our lack. We can see beyond our struggles and our suffering and believe in possibilities that far supersede where we are right now.